we have at least 3. I can't see the other with 2 phone numbers, so.
Yeah, you have Ken, Sean, Jonathan, Amanda. So you have
I hate when that happens. Oh.
Okay, so I'm going to start recording.
Okay, you ready to go?
Yep.
All right. You know what? Give me 1 second. I gotta be right back. I've got my script.
Who's the caller with the last phone number is 91 that just called in?
Kick them off.
All right, sorry about that.
Hi, Peter. Michael Piper present.
Hey, Angela, that one's me.
Oh, okay.
All right. So I'm back. We're gonna start that. So we're gonna call the November 18th, 2020 meeting of the Lake Quinsigamond Commission to order. As a preliminary matter, this is Peter Collins. I'm the chair of the Lake Quinsigamond Commission. Please permit me to confirm that all members and persons anticipated on the agenda are present and can hear me. So I'll start the roll call. Mr. Piker, are you with us tonight?
Present, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. Officer Amato?
Kyle's not here tonight. It's Officer Valier.
Oh, Officer Valier, perfect. Captain DeAndre, is he still here? Or do you think that you already have to leave?
No, I'm here, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Polito?
Here.
Mr. Nickerson?
Here.
Miss Amory?
Here.
Ms. LeBosier?
Here.
Is that close, Lisa?
It's kind of close.
I'm gonna, all right.
I'm just going to keep letting you go.
All right, thank you. Mr. Nelson? Okay, so Bill's not here. All right. I'm not here yet. Good. All right. Also, Angela?
Present.
And Jessica?
Present.
Perfect. And Patrick Diggins, you're joining us tonight, yes?
I'm here.
All right, perfect. And Jacqueline Burmeister?
Present.
Okay. And Barbara Kickham, or is it you that's doing the watershed? I don't hear. Is anyone here from the watershed? I spoke with Mike. Oh. No one? Okay. We'll circle back around to that. All right. Good evening. This open meeting of the Lake Quinsigamond Commission is being conducted remotely, consistent with Governor Baker's executive order of March 12th, 2020, due to the current state of emergency in the Commonwealth due to the outbreak of the COVID-19 virus. In order to mitigate the transmission of the COVID-19 virus, we have been advised and directed by the Commonwealth to suspend public gatherings, and as such, the governor's order suspends the requirement of the open meeting law to have all meetings in a publicly assembled physical location. Further, all members in public bodies are allowed and encouraged to participate remotely. The order, which you can find posted with the agenda materials for this meeting, allows public bodies to meet entirely remotely so long as reasonable public access is afforded so that the public can follow along with the deliberations of the meeting. Please remember to speak clearly and in a way that helps generate accurate minutes. After your presentation, members of the board committee will be given the opportunity to ask questions. We're not having a public hearing tonight, but if we do call on you, please direct all comments to the chair. We will afford, the chair will ask members of the public who wish to speak to identify the names and addresses only. Only the chair has a list of all public commentators. I will call on, but once the chair has a list of all public commentators, I'll call on each name. We're not going to be doing that. So for any response, please wait until the chair yields the floor to you and state your name before speaking. If members wish to engage in conversation with other members, please do so through the chair, taking care to identify yourself. Finally, each vote taken in this meeting will be conducted by roll call vote. So with that said, we will move on to our agenda today. And the first thing is approval of the minutes from July, August, September, and October of 2020. Has everyone had an opportunity to peruse those? Okay, I don't know if someone actually responded to me, or is there a motion to approve?
Motion
I'll
to,
make a motion, Mr. Chair, to approve the minutes.
Okay, thank you. Is there a second?
I second that.
Thank you. All those in favor vote aye. This aye for me. Mr. Pica?
Aye. Aye, Mr. Chair.
Officer Valieri?
Aye.
Captain DeAndre?
Aye.
Mr. Polito? Aye. Mr. Nickerson?
Aye.
Ms. Emery?
Aye.
Ms. LeBeauzert?
Aye.
Mr. Nelson's not here. Thank you very much. Review and approval of bills and expenses. Do we have any bills or expenses?
No, we don't have any this month.
Perfect. That makes that easy to deal with. Okay, so I think all my comments can be done in the lake management section. So I'm going to yield my time doing a report on to the next member. So Mr. Pica, what do you have for a report?
Mr. Chair, not too much. The drawdown, once it started, appears to be going down pretty quickly, which allowed for myself, as hopefully as well as other abutters, to clean their shorelines. The eagles are still around. I personally saw them myself about 4 days ago, and somebody else reported to me a couple days ago that they saw the eagles. The boating activity on the lake, understandably, is markedly reduced. Although when the weather was warm just a week or so ago, there was a fair amount of boating on the lake. It's supposed to be warm again in the next couple of days, but obviously, as seasons go, the boating season is pretty much drawing to a close. I do notice, though, when it gets calm on the lake, that there's almost like a season for kayaks, and that is early spring, March, and October, and early November. It seems to be people that take advantage of the calmer waters to go kayaking. It's just an observation in terms of boating. There's even been some people out in SUPs standing up as recently as last weekend. But that's it, Mr. Chair, in terms of a report at this time. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. Officer Valieri?
The boat is out of the water for the season. Any emergencies, we call the fire department to use their hovercraft. Other than that, it's a good season. It was a safe season. Yes, it was very busy, but we're going to work on that next year. More enforcement, ramp enforcement, and that's about it. I have nothing else.
Okay, thank you very much again for all you guys' efforts out there. I know it wasn't easy. Captain DeAndre?
I don't have anything, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Captain. Mr. Polito?
no report.
Thank you. Mr. Nickerson?
No report.
All right, Ms. Amory?
Sorry about that, I was muted.
No worries.
Wanted to share that we have two properties before the Conservation Commission on our agenda, 219 and 221 Lake Avenue. I was informed that these two properties will be seeking dock permits and dock installation. So we were curious what procedures the Lake Quinsigamond Commission would like us to pursue in regard to permitting.
Okay. There's we have it defined on, do you have a copy of the new dock application? I believe one of those docks already has a permit. Is that true?
Okay. Okay.
Right?
So I'm responding
Has a
to
Lake
comment.
Quinsigamond permit.
I'm responding to comments from my chairperson. I may have a copy of the old dock permitting procedure. I don't know if recently the new one was updated.
When I say new dock procedures, I don't mean like the new procedures. I meant when you install a new dock.
I just brought it over. Oh.
Versus having a renewal.
I put a little bit out, put in my sugar bowl. Okay.
There's two things. There's the renewal application, and then there's the
You guys are gone, I'll take it.
the new dock application, which is for a new dock.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? So, but on what we do in a nutshell, the first thing on that new dock application is you have to go to your conservation commission, whatever community that you're in, and get I think it's called a letter of determination, to see whether the conservation commission says, well, no, you got to do an NOI because you're trying to put a bulkhead in or something, So we basically push it out to you to make sure that that everything is all set there, and then it goes to us. They build the dock. Typically, Sean or Kyle will go out and inspect it, and then they basically get an approval. There are certain criteria right from the get-go, in that you have to be a landowning abutter. So putting docks on right-of-ways is not allowed. So that's something especially on the Worcester side, because there's a bunch of stuff on North Lake Ave that I think we have to address. But other than that, that's what our process is right now. Does that spell it out for you, or
that helps me definitely, and I will bring that back to the commission so that we can reduce some of the sort of back and forth that we had with those properties up on North Lake Ave.
Right.
But these are down south.
These are down
of,
at the old Italian Club site. Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
Yes.
I'm familiar with them. Yeah. One of them has a dock in already, and has had one for. I think. Was this the first season? It might have been the first season it's there. Does that dock have a Quinsigamond plate on it?
Are you asking me? Because I haven't seen it.
Okay, I'm just wondering if there was a problem with that. I think Stephanie Cravino went down there and looked at that, right? So, and I'm pretty sure Stephanie has the whole permit stuff, but it's on the website. I will forward that to you, Amanda, so you can have it,
Okay.
and you'll be able to take that.
Thank you.
And feel free to, get us involved anytime that you have a question on that in a particular site, and we'll address it.
Okay.
Okay. All right.
That report.
That'll do it. Thank you.
No report.
No report? And Bill's gone. Okay. So the first item on.
Mr. Chairman, Bill, he is here now. I think he has
Oh, okay. Hey, Bill.
a mute. He has to
Do you
unmute.
Do you have a report, Bill? Sorry, I didn't see you. Is he still muted?
People seem
Yeah,
frozen.
No, Bill, you have to unmute. There's a button at the bottom of your screen. You might have to hover over it. I'm sorry, I can't unmute people. I can only mute people.
You can only take it away. You can't give
Right.
it.
I can't give it back. All right, he left. Maybe he's gonna call in, so we'll have to come back.
Maybe it's rebooting or something. Bill's pretty savvy, so I'm assuming. All right. So we can circle it back if he has any comments. So I'm going to go on to the next couple of things. The budget, lake management are kind of all going to be in one thing because the budget is going to.
There you
Oh, there you go, Bill. How are you?
I'm sorry I was late. Somehow Google Meeting wouldn't install, so I had to reinstall it twice before I connected.
Oh, there you go. You made it
just
work.
2 comments. First, the rowing has really slowed down at the Quinsigamond Rowing Club. Only the diehards are out there because the weather's getting really just too cold. And second, I've had a request numerous times from one member of the club asking when will the 2 signs at the Narrows be out there. I don't know because it is too cold for me and I haven't been going out in the water, so I can't tell. But I've been requested by this person several times if I could possibly tell them when those 2 signs will be out at the Narrows.
Okay, so we have the signs. It got kind of late in the season, so we did not put them up at that point. And although we had the signs, that was kind of on me because we had the signs earlier, but that part didn't get done. But I'm planning on putting those out there first thing in the new season in the spring. So those will go out there fairly soon. If I can get to it before April 1st, before the lake's all the way up, it may be easier to place the signs somewhere fairly solid because the plan is right now is to have the signs in the lake on both sides of the shore. Hopefully those will be effective, although I fear that they probably won't because people won't see them. And I'm going mostly by what the reaction is down in front of the Corazzini ramp because those signs are kind of over to the side or sign. And Sean and Kyle's idea of putting another buoy down there is excellent. But that's the problem. If it's over to the side, people aren't going to pay attention to it. So we'll see how that works. If that works and slows folks down, that's good. If not, then we go to the next step, which is probably put a buoy inside the Narrow itself. So, yeah. And I understand that may slow traffic down in there, but that's kind of the point of having the sign out. So it should be okay. The issue, I guess, for the crew boats, if there is something in the middle, is are you going to fit through there with your oars out?
Yes, but really the concern, as my understanding is, that this individual has had too many power boats go by him at a high rate of speed through the Narrows when he's been there in a small boat. And so he's really hoping these signs are visible to the power boats.
Right. So that's going to be, and after a while, Bill, everyone's going to, it's going to be hard to say, I didn't know there was no wake through there because the signs are going to be up and they're going to be there and then hopefully there won't be a big alarm, we have to go in there and manage it from the enforcement side and start, giving people tickets and stuff, but hopefully everybody will play nice. There's a little bit of a pushback from some of the boaters on there that have been buzzing through there for, 30 years and, they don't want to slow down their skiing and yada, 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 but it's going to be what it is because it's a dangerous spot. I truly believe that. And it's not like we haven't had problems there in the past, for people getting hurt. So it's a real thing. I'm going to ask everyone in the public to respect that. And the Narrows at Kings Point is no wake. So please slow down through there and, be courteous, especially to the boats that are not power boats. Okay,
Okay, that's my report. Just one
All right.
comment to Angela. All my buttons just installed on the bottom of the screen, so I guess my reinstall was just slow. I can now mute and unmute.
all right.
Great.
You're like a technical wizard. Okay. I'm going to go, and I'm going to do a present now thing. My screen. And here's my whole screen here, but that's not what you want to see. That's not what you're paying for. There we go. Okay. So, can everyone see that?
No?
No.
Negative.
No. No one can see anything on there? You're just looking at me?
Yep.
What'd I do wrong? All right, hold on. No, wait a minute. I didn't hit the share button. Cancel. Try this again. Present now. My screen. It's not letting me share. Send now. A window. How about that? How about that?
Yes,
Can you see? Can you see that?
it's there.
Okay.
Yep.
Great. So here we are. So basically, we'll go through this essentially like this is kind of the lake management plan in numbers form here. So next year on the invasive species management part of things, it's broken down to a couple of things: public safety and you know the weed management. So you know, typical things we have to do plant mapping and water quality sampling and things like that. So we have certain reports that under our permit that we have to offer the 3 communities out for what happened this year. We didn't do any treatment to the lake this year, so that's going to be a pretty easy report to figure out. But those are basically some budget numbers there. Some of these budget numbers, by the way, are estimates. Things will change, and we're going to work on this over the hiatus in December and January and come back in with a more concrete or targeted expenditure budget, as well as coming up, because what you're not going to see tonight is where the money's coming from, because we still have to go out there to the communities and go through that process, and also what we have in the bank as well. But this is kind of give you an idea of what we have in front of us. So for the actual, we'll say, treatment of the lake, we got a couple of things going on. We're going to do a vegetation mapping of Hovey Pond, and that will allow us to figure out exactly what's in Hovey in terms of is it milfoil, is it fan water, is it a combination of stuff? Do we have anything else we have in there, water chestnut or whatever? So we're going to go through and make sure we understand everything that's in there. And that way, especially because all of that pond actually is in the town of Grafton. And the other thing is the drawdown permitting at Newton Pond. We're in the process right now of doing that actually, and I have a draft NOI in my hands for that. So that process is actually going on. So we're going, and I'm sorry, that's not true. Back up for a second. That's going to be happening, but before that, we have a draft NOI for the actual chemical treatment. So we're hoping to get in front of the conservation commissions in Shrewsbury and Boylston in the next probably 45 to 60 days to do at least the first presentation. I'm hoping it's only going to take one presentation to get this through. Shrewsbury should want it because they're the ones behind it, but we'll see what Boylston says. Anyway, so we'll do that. So the first thing is to get Newton Pond, the chemical application, and get the permitting in place for our actual application, which we'll send out to bid in the springtime. So probably we're going to shoot for a May, early June application time for that stuff, as well as the application for our treatments here in Lake Quinsigamond. Also, we're going through the drawdown permitting. We're starting that now, so we can start the drawdown permitting. We did that separately only because we didn't want to hold up the chemical treatment part of it. And the drawdown takes a little bit more work because we have to do some different types of reporting as far as what the bottom of the pond looks like and whatnot. So that's going to be happening now, and that's that figure on there with with the permitting. So all the reports that we need and the monitoring that we need, and also the going through the permit process. It breaks down to about a little bit under 10,000 to about 5,000 for the permitting part of it. And I have bacteria sampling, and I have defined Lake Ave and Whitler Drive. Actually, that's probably going to expand. This is part of the program that we were in collaboration with Worcester Lakes and Ponds and the watershed. So that figure is kind of comes in for a little bit of an expansion where we may do testing in more areas. We'll expand our testing. Also, so the title, I guess, is a little bit of a misnomer because the other part of it, I would like to get more experience in things like the biomarkers and also, start a source tracking. I think it's important, obviously, that we're testing and we expand that program, and we know what's coming into from the outfalls and the streams coming into the lake. But that said, we want to know what it is that's coming in, and two, at the end of it, where anything that's concerning is coming from. So those are really the three prongs of it: is identify where things are coming in, what they are, and where they're coming from. So it's basically those three things. And I know it's a big effort, and we've spent the last couple of seasons learning how to do stuff. We have a QAP. We're building our, we'll say, credibility with DEP as far as their confidence that we are testing properly and we have a procedure and we're following it. Gia did it, and Mike and Barbara did a fantastic job this year, and we're doing other positive things as well on there. So I commend the watershed and Jacqueline also. I commend the watershed and Worcester Lakes and Ponds for really bringing this to bear, especially the cool monitoring systems that Worcester Lakes and Ponds has out in the lake. So all that stuff is great. And finally, on that part of it, the other side of this is the pilot survey and treatment at Half Moon Bay. So what we need to do, and this is all based on, Half Moon Bay is all going to be based on whether we can get permission and approval from Natural Heritage to do this. And we had some positive signs there. We're going to use a chemical that we have not used before called Persilicor, which wasn't available or approved when we did our original permit. So we were going to put that onto our orders of conditions, or to add that on as one of the chemicals we're going to use when we do our permitting for Newton Pond. That will already be on there. So we'll have that weapon in the quiver for that area too. The treatment that we used in Flint Pond, because right now the only areas we can really treat per our permit is south of Route 20. So it's basically Flint Pond that we're treating. When we did that in 2019, we literally wiped out the Eurasian milfoil and the fanwort in one hit. It didn't really come back that significant here in Flint Pond this year. So that was a good sign. It allowed us to kind of coast by this year. The other thing that didn't come back up in a significant level is the sacred lotus. So that is also a good sign that our treatments are working. So we're going to treat again, because I suspect that we'll probably have more milfoil and fanwood in the pond this year, but it'll be more of a maintenance dose here on the south side of it. And that's probably going to, I think the total treatment we're doing, we're also doing some treatment in the north part of the lake as well, because on the shallow spots around Kerry's Boat Shop and right there in that northern basin, there's some weed growth in there. So we're gonna hit that as well. But all in all, I think it's about 20 acres or so of the lake that we're doing it. I saw a thing in the proposal that there's 15 acres inside of Half Moon Bay. So the numbers I got for Half Moon Bay were, I think, a little bit exaggerated, because I don't believe that's 15 acres in there. But that is certainly a significant crop of Eurasian milfoil, and there's also a significant crop of Eurasian milfoil in the Old Faith Cove, Old Faith Bay, which I'm hoping to address if this pilot works out and we're good, and if we get approval from Natural Heritage, then the next thing on the list will be to go after the ones at Old Faith Bay. So all good things. It's all positive stuff as we're moving forward, and that should be good. So on to public safety.
Can I ask a quick question?
Oh, I'm sorry. Yes, of course.
On the Half Moon Bay, the reason that's down as 2020 is because the survey's been done, but the treatment won't be done till next May or June.
The reason that's on 2020, and thanks for catching that for me, Bill. The reason that's on 2020 is because I didn't change it to 2021.
Oh, okay.
That's a typo. Yeah, this is all 2021. Everything on here is for 2021. So the survey did not get completed in 2020.
All right.
Someone else have a question?
Yeah, so this is Jacqueline. I just wanted to make a comment on the invasive species management monitoring reporting. I see you have one round of water quality sampling there, and I believe this came up last year when we were discussing this. The Lakes and Ponds program does 12 rounds of water quality sampling on Lake Quinsigamond, and we report it all in a report that's publicly available. I actually just put the link into the chat. There's probably like a 6-page report with the results. It includes your basic water chemistry, plus I think we sampled over 150 other contaminants in the lake last year. So we'll be creating these reports yearly, and if they meet your needs, you can use those to satisfy the requirements of the Conservation Commission, and may offer you some savings in the reporting and monitoring section of the budget.
That's excellent. In the context of this list of stuff, we're talking about where we treat. So it would be in Flint Ponds and up north on the lake by, in that cove on Oakland Ave and North Lake. That's North Lake Ave there, right? The Worcester side and South Quinsigamond, North Quinsigamond. So do you guys test in Flint Pond?
Yes, so we do the Irish Dam. So that's kind of like the outlet where everything goes through. And then we also have a site, to represent the entirety of Flint Pond, right? So we chose that location. And then also we have a location under Route 70.
Okay, perfect. That's awesome. Okay, so that's really good. Thank you.
Yep, no problem.
All right. Any other questions or comments on the weed management part of it? All right. So on to public safety. There's been a lot of, we've kind of been going back and forth with putting signs at both Corazini and Oak Island, and that have the rules written on them. And we have we got whatever 30 rules, so I don't know how big a sign we can. We're going to put a billboard down there, but we can figure out something where we have at least the rules of the road versus having any rules about. We don't need a rule about a dock permit, I guess, on there, but we should have speed limits. We should have right-of-ways information. We should have those types of things in a rule. So those are the signs that I'm thinking about there, and I got a budget number near like $1,000 to get the sign done. And to be frank, I'm kind of guessing. Also, handouts, and we did one. Arthur Ledoux, when he was on the commission, came up and really designed a nice handout that kind of had the rules on the back of it. We print out the rules and send them out to abutters every time every year with the dock permits. But it would be nice to have and I believe that we used to have like a literature box down there that you could put handouts in. So it'd be nice to have, the entire list of rules in that, if we can pull that off. But I think that's, if we can educate people more, it would certainly help. I think would help out law enforcement on that side of things. And then I'm assuming we're going to need a couple more hazard markers. I know that Sean had said that there was at least 1 or 2 spots that he thought that we should have markers on that we don't. One of them being an extra marker in front of the Corzini boat ramp, and I totally agree with that. I wish we could find a way to put markers across that, so that people on both the Worcester end and the Shrewsbury side and the Worcester side. So kind of the markers are kind of in the middle, so it makes like a gate, and I think people may notice them more. Kind of like how it is at the bridge, at the Burns Bridge. But I don't know. I mean, it's not 80 feet deep at the Burns Bridge either, so I don't know how we can keep those on there. But Jacqueline's buoy seems to be hanging in there, and that's got a pretty deep anchor on it. So I don't know, maybe we can figure it out. The one I had in the buoy marker I had, so I don't know if we have to get a new one or what to deal with this, but when I took it out of the lake, the one I had over here, I had 2 in Flint Pond. One of them was fine. One of them had water in it. It kept sinking. So I don't know what happened to it. I couldn't, you can't visibly see a hole in it or anything, but it's obviously getting water. And then when I dragged it up on the beach, it was heavy. It's heavy anyway, but it was heavy because it had water. You could hear the water sloshing around in the thing. So that may need to be replaced. And then down to patrols. And I know this is a crazy big number here. So just to kind of give it some context, is that I basically did an estimate best I could. I'm going to go down to the second page here of how this comes about. So if we increase patrols and say we do 9 days a month in the month of June, and we have 9 days at the ramp with people on with officers on the ramp and officers in the water, and I kind of break it down to 16-hour days, with 4 people personnel, and you can kind of move around. I took a thing of $45 an hour because I think that may be the fee for when you have an officer on a detail. So that's what these numbers kind of come from. But and I know that Shrewsbury PD especially is looking to expand their thing down there. I just kind of want to bring this out here and show how expensive this can get, and why it's a challenge for any of the communities to come up with these kind of resources. But when you look down there, because the thing I did is I said, okay, so say we take this and we factor in how much, if we wanted to cover this entire thing with a ramp fee, how much would the ramp fee end up having to be? And I came out with a figure of $109 to launch your boat on Lake Quinsigamond. If we totally paid for the all $173,000, that was our actual budget. I don't think we're going to get that kind of an increase on the ramp fee, and that does not to say though that we can't start bringing the ramp fee up incrementally. And we can, at least we have a basis now where we can go back to the state and say, this is what it costs us to maintain the lake safely, to maintain this ramp being open safely because of the influx of people on here. I am expecting we're going to have a similar usage next spring than we had last spring. So I think there's still going to be a lot of people looking to recreate outdoors. And, you know, people bought all, you know, they spent a lot of money on boats and stuff last year to do that. I'm assuming they're probably going to want to use those vessels again this year. So that's what this comes from. So I wanted to give that number some context and say, this is what I was thinking about this, and, you know, what it would, you know, if you know, where that money could come from. So if we could raise the ramp fee up to, you know, $20, it would cut out that a little bit, and we could go back and forth. And also with this number, this is not going to be just Shrewsbury, or not just the city of Worcester, or, you know, the environmental police. I'm assuming, you know, I'm banking on that we'll have a collaboration of all those agencies on the lake. So, you know, and you know, Worcester's got their own boat coming on. That's great news. The environmental police did a great job last year, and Shrewsbury did a really good job as well. But, you know, when the hours I'm looking at is, well, okay, you know, some of the problems I saw was when you know, the lake kind of calmed down, and then, you know, you had 4 or 5 boats rafting up, and, you know, it's 11 o'clock at night, and you know, the music's blaring out, stuff like that. And also, I think that there's an opportunity to make things safer at the boat ramps, you know, at night when people are taking their boats out after they've been in the lake all day. Because I got to believe there's a lot of, you know, violations of people driving when they probably shouldn't be driving, coming out of that boat ramp, you know, and you know, after hours. So that's kind of where I'm getting the hours there, the 16 hours a day. That doesn't mean, you know, someone's going to be there at 5 in the morning to whatever. I'm thinking more like, you know, mid-morning to, you know, to 11 to 12 o'clock at night. So any questions on that? All right. So I'm going to stop sharing there. And go back to my thing here. There we go. So, back on the farm here. So the money coming in, we're going to go back to the town. You know, I'm assuming the city. I don't have my finger on the pulse of the city, but I'm pretty sure that the you know, all 3 of the communities that we're dealing with are going to be facing budget issues moving into the spring of next year. We were extremely fortunate that this year that we got all the money we asked for, and I appreciate that coming out of Shrewsbury. And Worcester had chipped in some money as well. And, you know, we're going to go back and ask these, you know, ask for the same amounts, and we're going to ask for amounts from the state as well. But, you know, we'll have to see what happens there. So a lot of this will be premised on what we can, you know, actually afford to do, based on the budget numbers that we get in. And certainly I want to, you know, we'll probably look at raising the dock fee again. I know it's always a painful experience, but, you know, we're bringing it up as incrementally as we can, and as painless as we can. But it you know, needs to increase, and that's one of the compromises we had to make with the town of Shrewsbury about them pitching in, that they wanted to see that fee go up because they felt that it was too low. And we'll work on that in over the course of the winter too. That said, you know, if there's any ideas for other additional funding, and I know, you know, we can talk about grants and other things, so we can work on that. I know that there's been some talk about within Shrewsbury, and I believe Grafton as well, about using money from the CPA, the Community Preservation Act. Unfortunately, a lot of the things we do and spend money on in Lake Quinsigamond are maintenance based. Like, you know, the weed control is maintenance based. And, you know, the permits at going into Newton Pond and whatnot, I mean, that's actually a project, not really maintenance. So that would probably fall under that kind of a project that would be acceptable for the CPA level. But, you know, a lot of our stuff is maintenance based. So that's one of the reasons that we may have a problem there. However, there are things that, you know, we can look at that would make a good project. For example, we were talking about maybe putting parking meters or one of those parking box things at the Oak Island boat ramp, the Flint Pond boat ramp, where the person would have to come in, they'd have to get a parking, they go over there. It's like the train station. You go over and you put your credit card in, you get a sticker, you put it in your windshield, and you're paying for parking. So you're not even paying for access to get on the lake. You're just paying for parking in the parking lot. So, but those machines cost money, and maybe that's a project that we could use from those kinds of funds. So we're obviously going to need to be creative on that, and I'm a big proponent of getting the type of funding that we can sustain, so we can do long-term plans and we can manage the lake as it should be managed over the course of time. So that's yes.
The budget numbers that you presented to increase fees at the boat ramps, are you going to present any of these budget numbers to the public access board?
That would be a step. Yes, the next step. Not the next step, maybe, but yes, we would go to the access board with the number. And I don't know. I mean, Angela can probably comment on this better than I do. I don't know how effective that's going to be. Like, we go to them and say, look, this is what it's costing us this much money to keep the lake, to keep this ramp open safely, or the two ramps open safely. And they may go, yeah, well, we don't care about that. People got to fish. So I don't know what they're going to say, but yes, I'm going to take that number and say, this is why we're asking for an increase. And certainly going to them and asking for an increase of what are we at now? $10 in there. They're going for an increase to $20, and we're basically doubling that's how they look at it. It's not like, oh, we're just adding another $10. They're going, you're doubling it. It's a 100% increase. So they've been conservative at letting us go up incrementally, but we need to do it. We need to keep at it. We need to keep bringing it up there and raising it. And it's not even so much in my mind is to limit access, because that's exactly what they don't want you doing. They don't want you limiting access on there. So if you can't say, well, we want to keep the riprap out, that may be a consequence, but that's going to be a concerning consequence to the access board. So, but that's not even the point. The point is, if we're going to have this kind of activity in Lake Quinsigamon, and the real unique thing with Lake Quinsigamon too, we are a unique body of water. We're a 750-acre lake, but we really look like a 75-acre lake, because there's really no room. There's no room to do the things that people are doing on it. You can't have towboats and crew boats and kayaks and paddle boards and sailboats all in this tiny space of especially the parts of lake from Kings Point north. It's really a small space when you think about it. So that's really the issue there, is how do you figure, within our configuration as geographical configuration, how do we fit all this activity in there safely? And it's a difficult thing to do.
One more, just to follow up. So I know we had a discussion with the manager and Angela and some other people about the cost of patrolling the lake and in the ramps and whatnot. And I thought we were going to come up with a number such as what you just presented. We were going to go to the public access board and ask them to increase the fees based on what it costs us to patrol the lake due to the increased activity at the two ramps. So how does that proceed?
Can I comment on that, Mr. Chairman?
Sure, please.
So I'm working on the budget for the actual ramp with the maintenance and running the restrooms and putting the docks in and out. So I will have that hopefully within the next month. The Parks Commission has to vote to increase the fees. They are obviously supportive of what goes on at the lake and have the same concerns as this commission. They will then make a recommendation to the Board of Selectmen. And then from there, it would go to the Public Access Board. So I think when it gets on the Board of Selectmen's agenda, that's when we should have, you know, a letter of support from the Lake Commission endorsing the increased fee, so that they have that information, send it over to the Fishing and Boating Access. So I'm trying to get this in place so that we have it before the start of the spring. That way we can advertise it and everyone knows what the new fee will be.
Great. Is that helpful, Ken?
Yes, that's just what I wanted to hear. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. Any further questions or discussion? All right. Moving right along. Review and possible act on Rowing Association Spring Race Regatta tentative schedule for 2021. Starting on April 3rd through May 29th, with ramp closures on April 30th, May 1st and 2nd, May 8th and 9th, May 15th and 16th, and May 29th. Mr. Diggins, how you guys doing on this?
This is essentially what we had for schedule last year, but obviously didn't hold anything. And we're at this point, we have no idea, and we're probably going to need to wait until January or February when we know what the schools are doing and what the state's doing.
Okay, so do you want us to? I don't know how to vote on this.
No, I talked to Angela about it. We thought maybe we'd just wait until the February meeting.
I think that would be best. Okay.
But I did want to get the dates out there so that everybody has an idea.
Right. Good. Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Is there any question or comment on that?
So we would just table the discussion till the next.
Mr. Chair, Michael Pica. Oh, sorry.
Yep. Yes, Mike.
I saw the schedule. The only concern I have is that they would close the ramp on the Saturday of the Memorial Day weekend. Other than that, I have no issues. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. All right. Angela?
I was just saying that we should just table the further discussion until the next meeting.
Okay.
I can just add a comment. Being a representative on the MIT board, that they're saying on the Charles River exactly the same thing. They have to wait till February.
Okay. Fair enough. And I think that gives us time enough to set all that up. It's everyone's expectation. Okay. So we're going to table that at this point and move on. Update on the rules of Lake Quinsigamon. I only have 2 volunteers that come up for the rules committee. Lisa volunteered. Thank you very much for stepping up on that. And Patrick Diggins. I would encourage. I'm gonna keep this open for like another 30 days, and I would encourage. I would like to meet at least once in the next 30 days. Just a quick Zoom meeting to kind of set up a plan of attack on this. But I would encourage anyone from the fishing community, especially, and anyone on the power boat side, butter. Also, anyone from the watershed that may want to contribute to this. So please help us out here, so we can basically get a fair representation of all the stakeholders on Lake Quinsigamon when we're doing these.
Mr. Chair, a question?
Yes, sir. Yes.
If some member of the Quinsigamon Rowing Club wants to volunteer, would they be acceptable?
Oh, I don't want those people on here. They're nothing but trouble. Yes, of course. So, I don't think we need a 20-member committee, but I would like to have more than 3 to do it. So, they can contact me at either my email address or go through the the Lake Quinsigamon Commission email address. Okay. And next up is Jacqueline Burmeister. What do we got, Jacqueline?
Hey everyone, I'm gonna share my screen real fast. All right. So I just wanted to show you real briefly those water quality reports, since I realized I might not have ever showed those to you before. After the state of the lakes, we compile all the data that we've collected over the course of the year into comprehensive reports on each of the lakes that I study throughout the year. So you can find these on the city website and as a PDF in the chat box. But they talk about Bell Pond, Coes Reservoir, Indian Lake, and Lake Quinsigamon. So you go down to, it gives an overview of all the parameters that we study, and then how Lake Quinsigamon is doing and all the work that's been done there between what the city is doing, what the town's doing, what the commission's doing. So it gives a nice rundown of that. This is basically all the information I present to you every month all together to tell a story about water quality over the course of the year. With that, I wanted to talk to you real quick about the most recent visit I made to Lake Quinsigamon. This is Coal Mine Brook, a picture that I took on November 3rd. That was the last time I went out to do a full round of sampling on Lake Quinsigamon. The water temperature on the 4th was 52 degrees, so it is getting pretty cold. The clarity is still pretty high, though. You could see 12 feet down in the northern basin and 9.5 feet down in the southern basin. And that's pretty typical of Lake Quinsigamon this time of year. And we're also seeing very low phosphorus levels, which is good because usually around this time of year, as the lake starts doing what they call the turnover, you see a lot of phosphorus and sediment coming up to the surface. But as of right now, we still see pretty low levels of phosphorus, which is good for lake health. I talked about that turnover briefly, and that's basically when the water gets so cold on the top that it starts to sink to the bottom. And that creates kind of this turnover of all the nutrients on the bottom and all the oxygen on top. So you see oxygen at lower parts of the lake, which is good for lake health because it means that fish can survive at lower depths. But it also means that all those bacteria and organisms that eat all of those nutrients that have accumulated down there also have oxygen. So there are a lot of interesting water quality dynamics happening when the lake turns over. So we're tracking that by measuring oxygen and temperature throughout the entire water column, and that you could visualize in these graphs here. And basically what we're seeing is that as time goes on, the oxygen is slowly returning to the bottom of the lake, which is a good thing. And then on the topic of the drawdown, we know that started this month. We created a video to explain what a drawdown is. It features the Irish Dam, where the drawdown takes place in Lake Quinsigamon and Flint Pond. And you could learn more about what the drawdown is for and share that with your friends by visiting the City of Worcester's YouTube website or YouTube channel and looking for the Blue Space Minute. And what is a lake drawdown and why is it done? It's just a quick watch, and you get to see Flint Pond. And then finally, the last bit of news that I have for you is that we have chosen a contractor to begin work in the spring on the biofiltration unit on Lake Ave North. That's finally happening. It was a delayed process through COVID times, but we have a contractor that should be starting as soon as it becomes nice enough out to begin work in the spring. Does anyone have any questions?
Just on the more of a comment on the video on the Irish Dam. So thanks for doing that. That's always fun. Did you get a chance to go down there while they were lowering the dam or?
Unfortunately, I didn't know what their schedule was.
Okay.
We do have some footage of them doing it at Indian Lake, and it's a slightly different process that they do there, but you can see it in action in this video at Indian Lake.
Yeah, I've filmed it before. We've done it, but it's a pretty cool process, the way they do it. But I was just curious. But thank you for doing that. That's informative stuff. I love the Blue Space stuff. It's just really, it's really cool.
Well, it was really inspired by your lake show. So yeah, just trying.
But
there's
no credit for me on there.
We'll have to get you in there on the next episode.
There you go. Thank you. All right, so perfect. Is that it?
That's it. Oh, and the water quality buoys will be. We just got a new updated one that is more cold tolerant, and we'll be launching that for the last week or two of the season tomorrow.
Okay, nice.
Yep.
Thank you. Any questions from the commission? All right. And moving on to the watershed. What's going on with the lake?
Hello, this is Barbara Kickham. We have nothing really to report. We did give our final bacteria monitoring report to DEP, and we'll have that posted on our website. We gave Peter a copy so he can give it to the commission, and I'll be filing the report with the city. I mean, Jackie has it, but I'll be sending it along to the city officially and to the town of Shrewsbury. So that's about it. And Jackie, I'll just mention because maybe Jackie forgot, she's organizing a bunch of angler events, and maybe you want to talk about it in the spring, but we've been meeting with some of the other lake groups in the city, and Jackie's organizing it in a bunch of, we're calling them angler events that will be anything from the history of lakes and ponds in Worcester and Shrewsbury to having some learn to fish days. And with COVID, there'll probably be recorded events, and we'll have to see about actually getting out there and learning to fish next summer. We'll see, have to play that by ear. But that's in progress right now. That's it.
All right. Any questions or comments? All right. I love the angle on the anglers. That's a great thing. Okay, so we set the date for the next meeting, which will be in February, right? Unless someone wants to meet on the 24th of December. Is that the last Wednesday?
Yeah. I have February 24th is the next meeting.
February 24th. Okay, good. That's better. Okay, February 24th, 2021. Okay. Just a quick thing before we go. I want to thank everyone for all the work that you've put in this year with the commission and on behalf of Lake Quinsigamond and the watershed. Couldn't do it without you. And the community's a better spot, a better place because of the job you guys do. So don't ever forget that. It's not, it doesn't go unnoticed with people that are, that matter. So I want to thank everyone for doing that. Also, I wish everyone a safe and happy winter months and the holidays, and I hope we can all make the best of that. So please stay safe and have fun. And with that, I will accept a motion to adjourn.
Make a motion to adjourn, please.
Okay. Second motion. All those in favor, I'm going to call the roll. Mr. Collins, yes. Mr. Pica.
Yes, Mr. Chairman.
All right. Officer Valieri.
Yes.
Captain DeAndre, I don't know if he's still here or not.
No.
Nope. Okay. Mr. Polito.
Yes.
Mr. Nickerson.
Yes.
Miss Amory.
Yes.
I'm gonna try this again. Ms. LeBosia, now I'm freaked out by trying to say it. You know what? We're gonna talk and you're gonna teach me how to say this name. How do you vote? All right, thank you. And Mr. Nelson?
Yes.
All right, thank you. Have fun, everyone. Thanks much.
All right. See you next year.
See you.
Thank you.
Hi, everyone.
Yeah.